From this one wheat seed and one cocoa bean, we are about to farm 50 million cookies. Because April 26, 2023, the YouTuber Cookie God wants to set the world record for most cookies crafted in Minecraft, 1 million, and gives himself 100 days to reach it. And well, he tried his best, but when I saw this video, I knew the strategies could be improved, so I posted my own, where I beat the record by 10 times, but that was a mistake, because after that, everyone wanted to get their hands on this record. But it wasn't like they completely smashed my record. No, they would beat my record by like only 100,000 and then just make fun of me.
Yeah, Jaren is a cookie noob.
But you know what? I don't care. They can have the record. At least I still have more than Cookie God. December 15th, Cookie God decides with no time limit to finally go for 1 million cookies. But not just 1 million, 1.15 million, or just 100,000 more than me. Now, he doesn't mention me in the video at all. Maybe it's just a coincidence, or, yeah, Jaren humbled Cookie. Now he must prove that he is the true Cookie God. He hearted that comment. So if this is how people were going to take the cookie record, I decided I was going to get this one back. But not just by a little, but by so many, with farms so large that nobody would even think to attempt to go against me. This is by far the biggest project I've taken on. But at the start, I was so naive to what was in store for me. Just like that, we're already one stack in. Our first stack of the 781,250. Oh my goodness. I did not realize that number would be so big. So I kept expanding the wheat and cocoa bean farm, tending to make the wheat one bigger because the recipe needed double. To be able to craft all the cookies we want, we need to farm 6 million cocoa beans and 12 million wheat. Straight up, that's gonna be another 2 accidental records in this video because nobody has ever farmed that much of either before. Bro, you stole my seeds. I needed those. But over at the cocoa bean farm, I'm already destroying it. That thing was abysmal. Yeah, and then replanting them. This is very efficient space-wise, but very inefficient everything else-wise. Like, look, I can't get, oh my gosh, okay. We gotta knock this whole thing down. So I replaced it with a wall of jungle logs that, when the cocoa beans are fully grown, you can push with pistons to auto-harvest. Oh, and I forgot the best part. 2 sides. Oh, Panda, bro. Why are these animals just walking into me? But this is a classic farm design. Take a look at everyone else's Cookie Road record videos and you'll see it in all of them, which is why in the future we'll have to come up with something faster to get an edge on everyone. I came up here thinking I'd see a much bigger farm, but like, this is so small. That led me to expand both farms again to a size where I could get about 5,000 cookies per hour, but I wasn't going to craft them myself. It would take days to craft 50 million by hand, so I want to get a head start on learning how to use the auto crafter. Wow, and it just crafts them all for us. No! Ah, wait, stop. When we're done with this video, we could also go for the brown dye road record. Now we just need literally 1 sticky piston. I know this is gonna be insane. I know exactly where we can get one. Where could it be? Here it is. This is actually a strategy I used in my 1 million cookies in 100 days because it was the easiest way to get a sticky piston while in a jungle. Push this in. Ah, it's making more brown dye. Oh no, it's working. Yeah, but it didn't work for long because it then made bread and... Ah, what did I just do? I should confess, I caved in. I watched a tutorial, but hey, at least it works now. It does craft quite a bit slower than the previous design, but the previous design didn't work, so, you know, I think this one's better. After the remaining ingredients were used up, we had around 7,000 total cookies, so I was back to harvesting the wheat and cocoa bean farms. The cocoa beans were fun. They grew quite quick. I harvested with a flick of a lever, and all I had to do was replant them. That's much better than the wheat. Manually harvest, manually plant, but then I also had to run around and collect both the wheat and seeds. I needed seeds for a future farm, which constantly filled up my inventory and chest. I was interested in making this as easy and fun as possible, so I had an idea. Yes, we finally found a laze. And we got 4. We got 3 of them. Honestly, that's enough. So once we got back to Cookie Island, I gave one a lay wheat and the other wheat seeds. So while I harvested the crops, they'd fly around and gather the items for me. Then, because they're attracted to dinging note blocks, they would drop them off at the collection system that had one. I did end up moving the collection to the center of the farm so their trips were shorter, but once these little blue birds got going, they were awesome. So I needed more. I collected some amethyst shards, played music nearby which would make them dance, please disregard the beating noise in the background, and then duplicated them with the shards. I thought this process was fun. It's surprisingly unique, and then once I'm done duplicating, I'm listening to a nice little tune. Wow, we still got a lot of wheat to get through. Oh no, all these cookies are gonna despawn. We need to upgrade this storage system. Oops. Okay, so the storage is upgraded. We're gonna probably run out of this pretty quickly, but then that's just when we'll upgrade it more. Then, since I wanted to harvest the wheat field, but it wasn't fully grown, it felt like a good omen to expand it even more. I did not mean to breed you two chickens. Oh my gosh, no, there's gonna be more chickens on the island. And look at that, the field is ready to harvest. I'm curious. Oh my gosh, how do you guys keep getting stuck in there? How do you do that? I'm so excited to show this to you guys. I really hope it works first try. What this does is, let's say we're farming the wheat, you know, we farm the wheat. The allays, they come over, they pick it up. They're gonna go drop it off. And then, you can hear it being dispensed. It gets dispensed into the autocrafter. So we don't have to spend time bringing it over. And then all the seeds, they just go into these other chests. Oh my gosh, you're all stuck in here. Oh my gosh! Frozen my sorting system. He's getting sorted. Ah! Now the allays were so helpful at gathering the wheat. If only there was a mob that could do the replanting for us. Okay, we got 2 villagers. We can lead the boats. You think I could land it on top of that? Let's see if I can land him. Oh, I just barely missed. But yes, villagers, if turned into farmers, will slowly replant crops, so all I needed to do was harvest. But now that I'm using villagers, I need to quell a question that some of my viewers may have. Why am I manually harvesting cookies instead of buying them from the villagers? In my first cookie video, I stated that trading with villagers is the fastest way to get cookies, so when Cookie God took my record back, he used villagers. But here's the thing. I might have done a little bit of lying. Now, yes, trading is easier to set up and faster, but only up until a point. Because there's only so many times you can manually trade in an hour. So the strategy to break that cap is we're going to be building massive farms for both wheat and cocoa beans that, at first, will be slower than purchasing them. But once they're large enough, larger than anyone has ever seen, it will be leagues faster than buying cookies. And that is how we beat every other record. So first, what are we gonna do for the wheat farm? It has to be able to farm over 12.5 million in a week. So farms like the fastest wheat farm ever isn't going to be fast enough. But the design we're going to use isn't all that different from what we've already been doing, because this wheat field here has actually all been a prototype. See, we start with a glass perimeter that has a collection system and note block in the middle. Then we bring 4 villagers over from a breeder that I made into the farm. There's 4 composters around, so now they're all farmer villagers who will manually harvest crops for us, which is why we turn all the grass into crops. That's why we've been saving seeds for so long. Now this is how most simple crop farms work, but the issue is they've never worked with wheat because if the villagers pick it up, they'll turn it into bread. Bread is the worst thing that could happen to us, which is why we fill up their inventories with seeds so they can't pick up the wheat. But then who picks up the wheat? The allays! I love these guys. They'll fly over and drop off the items at the dinging note block. So this design was made by Kix, took about an hour to build, and then made 800 wheat per hour, also collecting seeds because we still need more. But 800 wheat per hour per layer isn't a lot, so to get 50 million cookies in a week, we need 100 of these. One thing that's nice is they are stackable, but building this next one was just faster because I knew what I was doing, except it just still took a while because tilling and planting takes so long, and my strategy for moving villagers over was rather strange, but it was down to 45 minutes per layer, and after building another 3, down to 40. I now had a steady stream of wheat, but our 20,000 cookies per hour didn't improve because our cocoa bean production was behind. Bro. Hello? What I changed is instead of flicking each lever individually to harvest each cocoa bean wall, we flick just one lever for all the walls. By spending just 30 minutes doing all this redstone, in the future, we can save ourselves over 100 seconds of our time. Seriously, what was I thinking? It was more worth it to just build more walls. Hey, I should give an update. The wheat allays are no longer my favorite thing of this video. It's the cocoa bean allays. See here, watch. I set it up. Okay. I pick some up, you know, I gotta replant, but then while I'm replanting, you guys are doing a bad job. Lock in, allays. So none of them were moving, but that's just because they were too high up to see the items. So after I lowered their note block, these guys would help collect cocoa beans and get them transported to the auto crafter. Oh, wow. Like, this is completely full. It's just these last few ones that are empty. Now that I had an actual amount of cookies, I felt I could get back to the wheat farm, but I wanted to be able to build this thing even faster, so I reached out to my friend RecRap2 for advice because he's quite experienced with building giant farms quickly.
No way! Yo, wait, this is sick!
Yeah.
Wait, it's a Lay's! I've never seen an LA wheat farm.
I think everyone's sleeping on how good Allays are. These are guys, do you want to go try a harvest? See how it works. So go pick it up, and then they all go drop it off.
What?
I have to build, I need like 125 layers.
That's a few.
I know you know how to build things fast. And that's kind of why, that's the advice I'm looking for.
Okay, I try.
I knew Parker would be helpful because before we even started, he was giving advice. He wanted to fix my method of tilling the dirt, so to set it up, I just went around placing water in the corners, but it spurred Parker to say,
Ooh, okay, this is another thing we can optimize too. That's like not, that's
okay, this is good. This is
that's
good.
not holding down a button on your keyboard. Like if you open chat and you hold down a button, it like spams it, you know, right? I changed my walk forward button to my right click button, so then I'm still holding forwards and right click, so it doesn't mess with my brain too much, but it's just they're swapped.
Like
yeah.
this? Okay. And then,
So that's like a really nice overlap.
okay, wow, that's already gonna save me a bunch of time. But it was also really fascinating to hear Parker talk about the mental aspect of these kinds of projects. Like he showed me a way to place dirt that's probably 10% faster, but then said, you probably don't wanna do this though, because it requires more mental energy, which is just gonna drain you faster, so you can't work as long. Parker gave me a few more pointers that I wrote down, and then he was off, leaving me with a bunch of new tactics to try. Wow, what a productive call. The first tip was using ice to waterlog leaves instead of water buckets to fill awkward strut outs, an obvious time save. Oops. Next is butterfly clicking, which is just a faster clicking method, which looks like another time save. But is it one? I'm just not that good at it. I know I'll get better over time, but I'll just use it when I feel like it. So how we do the outer walls, that one's still up for debate, but what I know is not going to be up for debate is the new tilling methods. Just this tip alone saves us 5 minutes per layer, maybe 10, it's overpowered. But this next one takes a little bit of preparation, and that's moving the villager breeder into the sky above the tower, because, well, our current method of moving them, to put it lightly, makes me want to blow up this island. I still didn't want to watch a tutorial for a better design when I remembered last video I found my friend's secret base, so I mined into his villager breeder, which clearly worked well. Hello, excuse me, took a mental note of what it looked like and then started copying it into the sky. Don't say your inventory's already full of seeds. They can't breed because they have seeds in their inventory. So we just gotta... Oh, you really had to trample my crops? That's probably the most evil thing I've said this video. Okay, I got a new fresh clean villager. There's also a panda in the boat, so I guess it's coming up too. Just knock out the floor. Okay guys, be careful. So far it's we've not had that many villagers survive. Now since we were up there in the sky, I also built a box to store all the allays. Oh, this is gonna be such a cool shot when there's more allays. How can you hate allays? This is such a vibe. Like just running around, duplicating them, and then you have to listen to a music disc to do it. And guess what? I can listen to this and harvest a bunch of cocoa beans. Now that we have both the villagers and allays in the sky, to get them into the wheat farm, we just push them off. Well, the allays we have to drag down. But with all these changes and a few more smaller ones, I took the build time per layer down from 40 to 30. I would have built more, but halfway through I ran out of wood. Now here, I could have easily built a wood farm, but I personally don't like following tutorials for farms because it makes the Minecraft experience less fun. Instead of racking my brain to learn something new or be creative, I'm just mindlessly following someone else's instructions, so-called free thinkers when a new wood farm is released. Now I know it's kind of ironic, because in this video, we're gonna be following so many crazy farm tutorials, but I still wanted to cut down on how many I'd have to do, and it's not like we needed that much wood. The reason that others didn't get more cookies in their videos is because of burning out. If they got tired of it at 1 million, what am I gonna be feeling at 20 or 30? So that's why I didn't build a wood farm, and how happy I am that I didn't. Wait, hold up. But what if we manually broke everything. And then we had Alays pick up all the bamboo. I don't know if I'm gonna look back at this and be like, Alays were my hammer, so I thought everything was a nail, but like, no, this genuinely seems like a good idea. So now if I break all this, you can see them swoop in. Okay, now we have a wood farm. Yeah! Oh my gosh, I almost hit that glass like a bird. Oh, I hit that piece of glass. I measured how long it took to build my 10th wheat layer, and what I found surprised me. 20 minutes per. It's now only 38 hours of wheat farm building, which really only seems small because of the 100 we thought we'd have to do before. But one thing I want to clarify is why 50 million cookies? It seems like an arbitrary number, but it actually has some math behind it. Because I'm not just going up against a cookie god and these other YouTubers, no. I am going up against the entire Minecraft community. For the 15th anniversary, Mojang put out a video that had statistics for the entire Minecraft community. Stuff like 10 million creepers defeated a day, 300,000 meters of rail placed a week, or 6.9 million cookies baked every 3 days. That's 16 million a week. So when I saw that, I thought, I bet I could single-handedly do that. But then when I did the math, I found I could do 3 times as many cookies as the entire Minecraft community combined. Then it'd be impossible to make fun of me ever again. And that's why we needed 100 layers. I only had enough resources for 10, so we had to go out and bulk collect more. So after an hour of digging dirt, I got 7.5 double chests worth of it. So back to building the wheat towers. And yes, towers, we are starting a second one. So one issue with this tower is it's one central collection system, which is leading this to get clogged. I've emptied this out like 5 times now, and it's still just clogged with items. So the only way to avoid clogging it further was to start another wheat tower. I got to work on the first layer, and then gosh dang it, I forgot I also need glass. I didn't know where a desert was, so I just dug the sand from the lake around my island. We're not even like a 1/6 the way done, and look. Oh, no, look at the destruction to the environment around me. One thing I'm just realizing about this challenge is just every single thing we do just requires so many items, because just to even smelt all the sand, we need a good fuel source. Here's a Minecraft pro tip. There's a lot of furnace fuel farms out there. 90% of them can be beat by just a couple of buckets and a lava lake. We have finally collected most of the sand, and now we gotta build the next modules. This is about the time I realized I was in the grind. I knew this video would take a while. I knew going for this record would mean a lot more work compared to other videos, but I had to. Everyone was making fun of me. Except sometimes what they said about me didn't even make sense. Here, Gurk says,
He actually achieved the 1 million cookies, but only by a bit. He almost failed.
Almost failed? Gurk, you know what almost failed means, right? It means I didn't. So I had to keep working. When building layers got boring, I'd bulk collect other items for the farm, like glowstone and skulk sensors. I decided to get those from an ancient city, which had the other benefit of also collecting a bunch of diamond hose. And another music disc for the Alays. I bet they'll love this one. I feel good about this inventory. It is time to do more building. Rats, we broke it. Okay. Well, he's stuck in there now. Oh! So as you can see, we've been working so long that my elytra is starting to break. I was thinking, what kind of XP farm could we make? And then I realized, it's so obvious. Yep, guess what we're gonna be doing? Oh, hey, look what we can buy. You guys, you can't be selling cookies for 2 emeralds. Do you not see over here? The economy has been inflated in your backyard. That was beautiful. Did you see how fast I built that? That's a layer done. 13 minutes. 13 minutes! I'm the goat. 9, 10. Oh, we built 11 today. At 24 layers, the second wheat tower collection started to clog, so that's as tall as it could be. But this was a great time to set up the cocoa bean farm, because let's be honest, it's kind of embarrassing to be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get the cookie world record, do more than everyone else. And then, 50 hours in, I don't even have 100,000. Like, Cookie God was at 1 million and done with his video at this point. And we're just getting started. So right here is a sort of prototype for how we want to get all of our cocoa beans. Because instead of letting them grow normally, what we can do is we hook it up to this dispenser, and you see these dispensers are all filled with bone meal, so when I place down the cocoa bean, it like instantly grows large. Probably your first thought is, wow, that is painfully slow, which is why I have another design that's way better than this one that we're gonna build. Now, this cocoa bean farm is by the creator Activation, and let me just say it, Activation my goat, because he describes this farm as...
Do I recommend building this thing? Absolutely not. A much bigger hassle than necessary, and I don't recommend you build this thing.
Which means this is the perfect farm for us. Pig, bro, what are you doing in my redstone? So... this is the machine. By using the same keybind swapping technique as tilling, this machine was doing 1,200 cocoa beans per minute. That was enough to quickly fill the entire storage system, which meant all the new cookies weren't being stored. So I stole some shulker shells from a broken shulker farm at spawn. Some of you may wonder why it sounds like there's 1,000 wardens under me, and well, that's because there is. Then I moved cookies from the chest to the shulker boxes for more compact storage. But turns out, now the issue was with the auto crafter. Even as it was making cookies, there was still a bunch of excess wheat. Obviously, I knew I'd need more crafters, but I didn't think it'd be this soon. So I crafted 20 auto crafters to build a little diorama to find the most efficient way to get all the tubes to interact with each other. So this is my weird brainchild, but I think I figured out how we're going to put the crafters. You can just go like this. This is the wheat. It comes in, it goes up like this, and around, out, and then in. That should pick up everything. If it doesn't, that's not good. Throw some wheat into here, some cocoa beans into here. Oh, shoot. It's crazy how just like doing this again and again, you just get better. Like, I'm not being super intentional. Like, I'm coming up with some strategies to get faster, but like, they're very obvious. This is so absurd. Like, we have so many crafters going at once, and like, I'll be honest, I didn't do the math to figure out this is how many we need. I just kind of assumed. I probably should have done the math. I just went, well, we got one crafter going right now. I guess 20 wouldn't hurt. This is gonna be way too many. 20? Oh my god. Now for the water. I can't tell what's going on. It's just lines and lines of white. I genuinely can't mentally process this. Where am I? Oh, we need water here. The tubes are done. Yes. Okay. Now to actually hook these items up to the tubing system. I'm not realizing this is so much wheat. Oh my gosh. This is like a sixth of it. Then I added the cocoa bean line, which was a lot simpler. Now when the machine runs out of bone meal, instead of running over to put it in the chest, I can just throw the cocoa beans into the waterway. This challenge has truly become, let me farm 50 million cookies the laziest way possible. Now, we have to actually collect all these cookies. We're not done yet. We're still not done. Everything in this project just takes time to build and strategize. One thing I've learned though is I can sit around and try to figure out the best way to get all the cookies into one spot, but sometimes it's just quicker to do the first idea I had. The wheat filled all the chests, I threw in a load of cocoa beans and got to see this, which after 50 hours of work was such a beautiful sight to see. Iron Golem, bro, you're ruining my shot! Get out of the way! Move! But this rate of cookie crafting was currently not sustainable. The wheat farm wasn't fast enough, but the first issue was with the cocoa beans. They're easy to farm. This machine can get us more than enough, but that's only when it's supplied with bone meal. My current method for gathering it was flying around the nether and harvesting fossils, but that was only a short-term solution. How do we get 70,000 bone meal per hour? Bone meal farm Minecraft. Oh my gosh, that is so expensive though. That is so many hoppers. Oh my gosh, what a mess of hoppers. What? The bone meal farm required a strange list of items, like first, jack-o'-lanterns. Next was honey. I grew some trees to generate a hive, but once we got that, it was like, where can I put this on the island? Where do we have room? Now there's gonna be bees flying all over the island. How do we keep getting so many creatures here? We got villagers, chickens, yellow sheep, iron golems, allays, pigs, skeleton horses. Like, how did these guys get here? Why are you spitting at me? No! No! Llama! No! The next item to gather was slime, but with the new oozing potion, all we had to do was splash a mob with it and then kill them to spawn slime. Since we need a lot of slime blocks, we need a lot of mobs that we can splash and kill. And you know what mob we have a lot of? They're blue, fly around. That's right, villagers. Oh, wait, you thought I was gonna say allays? No, I would never kill allays. Villagers, you know, they are blue as in sad because they're stuck here, and fly around as in... Whee! So now if I... Whoa! I'm really scared to... From all that killing, we got 11 more slime blocks. Well, that's enough to build the farm, so... So what this farm does is it turns stone into moss blocks, then sends those into composters, which then get turned into bone meal. But this is far from enough bone meal to keep the cocoa bean farm running. The reason I picked this farm design in the first place is because it's easy to build multiple times because, well, we need 30 of these. But some of my viewers may point out, I've been talking about how I don't like following tutorials, that I think it makes Minecraft less fun, but here I am following the most complicated tutorial yet. Like, seriously, what does this do? But for this project, this is a necessary farm. I think we just have to build it no matter what. But you'll realize I still didn't follow many tutorials. I didn't build an auto pumpkin farm. I didn't build an auto honey farm. I should have built a slime farm, but instead I made a design 100 times worse, but 100 times more fun. Whoa! The collection system, as in the name says, collects. So I had 3 modules done, a 10th of the bone meal production we needed. Remember when Parker showed us how to do a simple build faster and at larger scale? This time I needed help learning how to do a technical build faster and at larger scale.
Yes, sir. Oh my gosh. Wait, it's not even loading for me. How many auto crafters do you have, bro?
There's 20 of them.
Oh, and then you have the lays and the villagers in the sky.
Yeah, so I have them up there.
Wait, that's so good. Whoa. I've never even thought about doing that before. Dude, allays are cool. Whoa. Wait, I should use allays more.
And then I once again ran out of cocoa beans.
Oh, geez. That explains why you have 4 or 5 bone meal farms. Is this enough?
That's why I reached out to you, Parker. I have to build 30 of these. So Parker took a look at the farm and noted that the biggest time save would be to fully memorize the design, so I didn't have to slowly follow a tutorial. But this has a lot more complicated redstone compared to the wheat farm, where a simple mistake would ruin the whole thing, so how could I easily remember it?
It can be useful to come up with stories in your head of like, oh, we do a double hopper here, then this, making like a little mnemonic. You have like, it's like the 5 little piggies, and we're about to build the 5 little piggies house. So it starts out with a 5x5. That's how you remember it.
Okay.
And then it's like you build up 6 scaffolding, because the little piggy has a mom. It's a single parent household. So it's like the 5 piggies, and then, but instead of 5 scaffolding up, it's 6 scaffolding. We have 2 observers on this side and 1 on this side. The little piggies are all left-handed, and like push yourself to uncomfortability, because like it should feel uncomfortable and you should be like, what do I know? And if you like can't remember a step, sit there for like 10 seconds. Lots of time you'll find like after 10 seconds, you're like, oh, I got it. And that's how you really learn.
So then we both joined a creative world to test how much I could actually remember. This is the door to the house. And these 2 are left-handed. Observer dispenser. We remember that because you tuck the little piggies into the composters.
Yeah,
They're really scared. They see stuff through the door, so you gotta block it off. They need their nightlight, which is a jack-o'-lantern.
Dang, see, look at you
Now
go.
that the little piggies are tucked in, we place more jack-o'-lanterns out there like that. Then the little piggies are kind of screwed. It's just this outline I have that's I'm iffy on. Wait. Hold up. Oh, this is so odd. You're so right, Parker. I do know this. I just have to sit around for a little bit. It's observer, jack-o'-lantern, and then you place down a redstone repeater and put it to 4 ticks. And then you put a sticky piston right there, and that's it. Okay. That's 1 out of 4. 1 out of 4.
Dude, this is so much better than Mathematica, bro. This is so much cooler.
So back at the island with mnemonics running through my mind, I built more bone meal farms. Now Parker had a lot of fun on the island and wanted to stick around, so he offered to build me a cobblestone farm he learned back in his melon days, which who am I to deny a gift from my good friend Rekrap. Technically, you could still call this building a farm from a tutorial, but notice the difference. I'm now hanging out with Parker. I love hanging out with Parker. That's way more fun. Then by the next morning, I had 15 modules built, but instead of building more, I just started running the machine early so the bone meal production could get ahead. Holy cow, it's actually raining bone meal now. Does it not seem like the bone meal is dropping absurdly fast? So the last thing to do was add a dropper system that leads to more pipes and more auto crafters. Now the bone meal will come down, get caught into here, go down this water stream, and go to the crafter we have set up. So with that complete, we could finally get back to our cookie farming. And let's be real, I had to get 1 million now. Like if I were to make fun of me, it'd be about how I don't even have 1 million yet. Especially because the only thing stopping us was just the time that needed to be put into the cocoa bean farm. Because the villagers in the wheat farm only work during the day, I needed to make sure I slept the moment I could. So while running the cocoa bean farm, I kept a clock in my offhand to keep track of time. You can actually see me holding it in other people's videos just because I was so keen on keeping it daytime. But when I measured my wheat rates, I found something was off. How much I was getting per Minecraft day was correct, but how much I was getting per hour was less than expected. But like, how does that happen? Shouldn't those rates line up? Day in Minecraft is 10 minutes. That's an undisputable fact about this game. But we are farming so many cookies, day is now 15. We have slowed down time. These past Cookie Road Record videos against a cookie god have been a battle over the title of the true cookie god, but I've realized that doesn't matter. That's just a title. Because now, with my cookie farm, I became an actual cookie god, able to control space and time. Well, except I can only slow down time, not make it faster. I'd actually really like to make it faster. But the next day, I grinded more cocoa beans for a few more hours and, well, inevitably, I had 1 million. Well, actually not 1 million, 1,300,000. Just so I can, you know, bink! That's my record now. It felt rewarding to have our hard work finally pay off, actually have some cookies, but I didn't spend much time gloating my new record. Why? Job's not done. The other records have been beaten, but it is time to take on the entire Minecraft community. Remember, we need 100 wheat layers, and so far, with even like 5 days of building, we only have 34. First, I raided a trial chamber under my island for wind charges, because those were a huge help maneuvering around the towers. The first layer I built took longer than previous, but by layer 3, I was back into it. Within my 5 shulker boxes, I had every item for every step along the way. I had the process down so well, sometimes I'd get distracted, you know, start to daydream and get lost in my thoughts, but then when my mind snaps back to reality, there's another layer built. I was obsessed, spending my entire day building. I implemented breaks into my schedule as to not wear myself out, but I was so dedicated to building, those breaks ended up being I'd go down to the kitchen, just stand there, and think, man, I'd rather be building right now. If I could save 20 minutes in my regular life, I could build another layer per day. So I stopped showering. Ah, nice one, Jaren, making a joke about how you don't shower, but yeah, I'm obviously kidding. I didn't stop showering, because I never did in the first place. My friend The Terrain logged on the server and started making jokes like, whoa, you've been on for over 100 hours. Here, Terrain is doing this thing in comedy called exaggeration, where you make the truth seem crazier than it is for comedic effect, because we all know I haven't been on for 100 hours. Oh my, I've spent 100 hours on this. This is when I got kind of scared about how much I was building, because I thought I had spent about a week so far on this cookie project, but when I counted it out, no, it had been 20 days. I have no idea what happened in the last half of March, because all I did was farm cookies. At this point, I had to ask myself, why am I doing this? Just because they took my record and made fun of me? Why am I doing this? Am I trying to prove something of myself? Prove what? Well, while we think about those deep and introspective questions, we might as well build more wheat layers. Hey, look at that, we're halfway done. Which, guys, I'm not joking. This was my genuine thought process. It's not that I had a good reason to keep going, it's that I didn't have a good reason to stop. But I am cutting through days of footage because it was the same thing over and over and over. And you know what? I can cut through as much as I want. Here, you want to see me build the rest? Blah, 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 blah. There we go, we're done. This island, over the course of 3 weeks, has become my masterpiece. 5 towers, 92 layers, the exact number we needed. Now, I did say I needed 100 of these, but that's just because maybe the rates weren't exactly 806 per hour. It's probably better to build more than less, and 100 is a nice even number. But after spending days building these layers, you know what else is an even number? 92. Moving on, there are some extra villagers in the breeder. What should we do with them? Goodbye. But finally, we could sit back, relax, and not celebrate because job's not done. We still have to farm the cocoa beans and figure out how to store all these cookies. 50 million is a big number! That's a lot of chests! But with 92 wheat farms running at once, the island started to lag, which then lagged the entire server, so my friends started to complain. In my search for a fix, I found this document and it was really fascinating because it showed all the things that cause lag and what produces the most. But it ended with 3 best practices on how to have lag etiquette. Number 1, spread your lag, because running all the farms at once really builds up lag, but we really need these producing as much as possible, so I think we'll have to disregard this one. But number 2, don't overproduce. Guys? Number 3, spread your farms. Guys? So you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna tell everyone we fixed it and then not do anything about it. Hopefully we can finish this project before anyone realizes. So for storage, obviously our current method isn't going to work. All these chests are for 1 million cookies. We cannot do this 50 times. So we're going to need a shulker farm for shulker boxes. Each box can hold 1,728 items and 52 of those can go in each double chest, holding nearly 90,000 items. But yes, I know, another tutorial. We needed 60,000 shulker shells. That couldn't be done manually. But I feel this experience sort of bolsters my point because I was miserable. Building the farm was fine enough, but it was painful trying to move the shulker. I can't do this. I genuinely can't do this. What is, oh my gosh. I'm gonna go insane. I've spent my whole day doing this. This is such a waste of time. But there was nothing else I could do. I had to do this now. In this moment, the game was no longer about fun, it was about completion. But finally, after brute forcing it, I got a shulker into the farm. And it's not working. Turns out there is a punishment worse than death. An hour later, I fixed it. What was the issue? Who cares? I'm just glad to be no longer following a tutorial. How did I get hit? Where did I get hit from? Oh no! Oh no, they're all over the farm! Wait, oh no, this is really bad! Okay, go, 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 get out of there! There's so many bullets! They're not on the farm, they're in the farm! They're gonna start shooting the villagers! So we have the shulker boxes to store all the cookies, but we somehow have to get the cookies into the shulker boxes and the shulker boxes into chests. Now there's a lot of tutorials for redstone contraptions that can do this sort of thing, but after having a terrible time following the shulker farm tutorial, I was determined to come up with my own design. It had dispensers putting the items into shulker boxes, used a lot of hoppers, was wide and bulky, but I was proud because I did this myself. Because of the overwhelming amount of cookies we craft at a time, I built 12 of these contraptions on the island to keep up with demand. Then for my favorite part, more tubes. This time all the cookies go into a water elevator, then get sent along the line of shulker boxes. Then for the chest that would store the shulker boxes full of cookies. This I had to chop down a lot of trees and place so many chests that I was worried this many would lag my island. And then I remembered, wait, everything else already does. But with the storage system built, I harvested loads more cocoa beans and watched the cookies go into shulker boxes. Except over a long period of time, some of the shulker box loaders would work, but then some didn't. And then the ones that did work would also break. Something was going on with my redstone that was too advanced for me to figure out. So my design wasn't going to work and I pulled up a tutorial. For half a second and then closed it. No, I was determined to figure this out myself. It's a matter of principle. So I changed my design, swapping out the dispensers for more hoppers so there would be less redstone that could break, and changed how I would remove and replace the shulker boxes. But then, something crazy happened. See, following a tutorial, I would have had to have taken the entire thing down and rebuilt the other design multiple times. But coming up with my own solution, it was based off the previous, so a lot of the fundamental redstone was already there, making it faster to swap swap the contraptions out. Then turns out, even better, this design is faster at loading shulker boxes than the tutorial. I've done it. I finally had a moment where having fun making my own design measurably paid off. A hopper and double chest worth is basically 100,000. So we have 400,000 cookies plus the 1 million in here, which is honestly scary. We've been spending a month on this and we only have 1.4 million cookies to show for it. But trust me, trust me. Now the last item I had to collect a lot of was wood. It was actually like 60,000 logs to craft all the shulker boxes. So I went around and chopped it myself. Wood farm? What do you mean wood farm? What? No, I would never. Me follow a tutorial after that speech? What? Okay, yes, I followed a tutorial, but this dark oak farm actually made me realize why people would keep building farms even though it isn't fun. And that's because it's so convenient. I realized that I wasn't having fun building the wood farm, but afterwards, I have more than I could ever need. So the last thing to do was build a second cocoa bean farm that, because of this iron trap door, I could also plant on behind me, basically doubling my rates to 100,000 cocoa beans per hour, and with the wheat, 800,000 cookies per hour. Yeah, you could not get numbers like these just buying from villagers. Right now, we are up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 20, so 3 million. We have 3 million cookies right now. But this method of harvesting cookies was so fast that if you weren't careful, you could create what I would call a cookie time bomb. The bone meal farm has a chunk loader to keep it always running, a side effect being the crafters are always running, which means if you leave, they keep crafting cookies, but because the player isn't there, the items don't move into the storage system, piling up, so when you come back, they all move at once. Oh my gosh, there's so many cookies. Oh no, we just overwhelmed the system. No, there's still more. We have too many cookies. Ah, how many cookies are there? There's way too many. Okay, we gotta go. So just to help in the event of another bomb, I added a few more collection systems. But then one of my friends found my island.
Oh, wow, that is just all cookies. Like, no, because, like, you've automated cookies, like, entirely. You don't really even need to do anything other than the cocoa beans. But, like, you don't even need to do anything anymore, bro. You just sit here for hours on end.
He's right. Now all I have to do is sit here. I was thinking this would be a great time to watch some movies I hadn't seen, but when it came to, I realized I was pretty limited on my movie choices because, well, it didn't feel right farming cocoa beans while watching Schindler's List. So I just listened to some music to pass the time because 50 million cookies felt so close. It was, but not as close as I thought. I ran a test to see how many cocoa beans I was getting per hour, but found our rate was half of what I expected, now only 400,000 cookies per hour. So I used my offhanded clock to measure time and found the worst thing possible. An entire Minecraft day and night could now last up to as long as 30 minutes, which slowed down how fast the cocoa bean farm could run. So I now had 80 hours of straight cocoa bean grinding. I couldn't imagine myself basically wasting all that time. I'm a YouTuber. I'd rather be making another video. So I tried to upgrade this farm to run at the same rate, yet make it so I wouldn't have to manage the bone meal and transport the cocoa beans. I believe I came up with some good designs, but they always came with a trade-off. You can either have it really fast, but have to manually manage it, or completely automatic, but 5 times slower. Never both. So here I had to make a choice. But it was obvious which farm I should go with, because a rich man will make cookies all day, but a wealthy man makes cookies in his sleep. So I built a fully automatic cocoa bean farm that can produce 80,000 cookies per hour. Luckily, we already have more than enough bone meal for it, and making tubes is the easiest thing in the world, so I logged off and pulled up Minecraft on my laptop. This is where I would run the game. But real quick, look at this painting in my room. I got it off Craigslist. This laptop would constantly harvest cocoa beans, day and night. Every morning, I'd refill the farm with more bone meal, craft more shulker boxes to go in the loader, and check on the cookie progress. After some time, I hit 10 million. Then a week later, 20, and then again, 30 million. 50 felt inevitable. I had everything needed for it, but the island, so full of farms and items, overwhelmed the game and became so slow the stuff started to break. My precious cookie island, now running at 1/4 the regular game speed, was falling apart in front of me. This video, we have farmed so many cookies that the entire game cannot handle it. These cookies are going to rip space and time apart. I thought I was the cookie god, but no, I'm just a man, and it is the cookies with the power of God. All I was a servant to them, and they were telling me that there would be an outcome that I wouldn't be happy with. this video started in March. It's now May, and with the island falling apart, I had to call it at 30 million cookies. But still, this is massive. Remember, the entire 200 million player Minecraft community farms half of that a week. So this is my final island, my masterpiece, my symphony of farms coming together for one singular purpose, and that is to be the fastest cookie farm ever. Here it is, 30 million cookies. One man and his allays versus the entire Minecraft community. They said it couldn't be done. They thought I would never get more than 1 million and made fun of me for it. But I'd like to see them try to make fun of me now. Except actually, when I showed this island to my friend, he thought it was impressive, but then also said, "Wow, you must not have a life." Which made me realize I beat this record so no one could ever make fun of me. But here I am, 30 million cookies richer, at the top of cookie history, still being made fun of. I doubt more cookies is the fix. Instead, I think the fix is to accept the hard truth that no matter what, I'll always be made fun of. But now for my next world record, eating 30 million cookies. Oh man, I'm gonna get so fat.